In the 1960s, Sergeant Major Robert Dean was part of the General Staff of NATO, under the command of General Lemnitzer, shown here in a photo dedicated to Dean. NATO often entered into maximum alert because of unknown squadrons, that is UFOs, coming from the communist bloc, had flown over Western Europe, disappearing over Scandinavia. Dean was able to read a fat secret file of NATO on the theme. What were these squadrons? Was it a danger to NATO?
They also determined, and this was the primary reason for the study, they determined that there was no military threat involved because the completely, repeatedly demonstrated level of technology that they had was so far beyond anything we had that if they were malevolent or hostile, it would have been over a long time ago. We and the Soviets, both of us knew that the UFOs were real. And both sides thought that if we could ever get a handle, get a hold of the propulsion system, the visitors were using extremely sophisticated anti-gravity electromagnetic propulsion. When I left the military, we knew of 4 different groups. And out of those 4, one group looked exactly like we do. I mean exactly. So much so that they could sit next to you in an airplane or a restaurant or in a theater, and you would never know. I do believe that at least some of the groups, I have to bear in mind there are different groups with different agendas, but some of them apparently do very deeply care that the human species survives, and that they have been trying to assist, they've been trying to help us. They have recognized that we have reached this incredibly delicate level of high technology, and I believe that our visitors, our family, are trying to assist us as you would a younger brother or a son to make that transition, to grow up and mature. Some level in my government, someone wants me to continue to do what I'm doing because I continually share what I know with people in a non-frightening and a non-threatening way. And I do it leaving them with a sense of hope. And I think that my government probably wants me to continue to do that because I'm a realist. I'm an old retired soldier. And that if my government wanted to close me down, or shut me up, they could have done it so easily over the years.
But have you met any visitors?
I will not amuse myself with you. I must tell you in all honesty, the answer to your question is yes. But I am not at this moment prepared to go into great detail. But yes, for some time. And I consider them my friends.
Do you think that the U.S. government has had contact with the visitors?
I have a lot of good friends who are in sensitive positions in government. Many of them my age who are still with government. Most of my old friends have retired now. But some still work at Langley, at Fort Meade, in different parts of the government. And they say that the evidence is pretty clear that we do have, and we have had for some years, some kind of close interrelationship with at least one, and possibly 2, different groups from out there. And the evidence that I have seen is evidence that I trust, and I tend to believe it. I tend to accept that. I've had too many sources from different directions that have provided me information, which I've accepted as pretty real.
We have news that President Eisenhower in 1954 had a meeting with extraterrestrial visitors in the military base of Edward, not far from Los Angeles. He, the president, mentioned it in this letter in 1954. The CBS journalist, Gerald Light, was present at the episode in a private capacity. He writes, "A group of UFOs came down to the base and showed extraordinary capacity to fly, appearing and disappearing in front of dozens of confused scientists." The fact was confirmed in 1982 by an experimental pilot who accompanied Eisenhower on that extraordinary occasion. The extraterrestrials were speaking English and suggested the president publicize their presence through an information program. Eisenhower said he wasn't ready. These things are highly improbable, without any clear evidence. They took place far from prying eyes, inside military bases, in desolate areas like this. In the 1980s, the American UFO expert William Moore came into contact with a secret agent, Falcon, a pseudonym, who allowed him to photograph documents from the Aquarius project prepared in 1977 to brief the newly elected President Carter. In the documents, there is talk of UFOs and alien corpses recovered, and in particular the first contacts between the US government and extraterrestrials from the 50s, and of close contacts in 1964, which are still going on. It also talks of attempts at flying UFOs that have been recovered. In 1988, Falcon, along with another secret agent, Condor, appeared incognito on television and confirmed the facts. Moore was able to vouch for the credentials of the two agents and was able to vouch for everything that had been said by the other 9 secret agents. Therefore, according to these sources in particular, official contact with the extraterrestrials exists. We are now showing an interview with an aeronautical engineer who says that he's worked for years at a secret base on UFO flight simulators in contact with aliens.